Hello everyone. As far as I can see, you're not interested in English at all. I can see that from our last lesson, my presentation has been seen only 10 times. It means that only 10 students out of 70 have seen the presentation from the last time. But it's not my problem. Very soon you will have a test, and I will also ask you to talk about the lessons. So if you want to study and learn what I ask you to learn, you will get a good grade. If you don't do that, it won't be my problem. Now, let's go back to our lessons. Last time you had a homework connected with the lesson, the medal, part 1, and also with the two tenses, past simple and present perfect. I will give you the answers so that you can check from your activity book. There are the answers. Stop the video and check your answers, and when you finish, we will start with a new lesson. You can see that our new lesson is about reading, a new way to read. In the past, people used to read only the paper books, but today we have different kinds of books and different ways to read the books. You can see some people, they are on a train, and all of them, most of them in fact, are looking into their tablets or phones, but they are not playing games. They are reading. You are going to hear the lesson, but you can't follow the lesson from here. Follow it from your books. Open your books, it's page 12, and listen to the text and follow the text.
Unit 1B, Exercise 1. Listen and read. Has David Peters got an e-reader?
A Reading Revolution by David Peters. What do you usually do on trains? Last week I didn't have my usual paperback, so I looked around at my fellow passengers. Everyone, except me, had something to do. Some were chatting, some were listening to music, some had their heads in books, but most of them were playing electronic games. Or were they? I suddenly realized that a lot were actually reading, not ordinary books, but e-books. Is this a reading revolution or just a passing fashion? I decided to investigate. Here's what I found out. What exactly is an e-book? It's like a book, but it doesn't have paper pages. Instead, you download the text and read it on screen. It could be a computer screen, a special e-reader, or even a mobile phone. What's wrong with ordinary books? Nothing. And a lot of people will always prefer them to e-books. But e-books do have some advantages. Just think, a device that's lighter than one paperback can carry hundreds of books. My train was probably carrying many libraries. How did all this start? Back in 1971, the Internet was a network of just 15 computers, and about 100 people had access to it. They used it to store data. Then, a student called Michael Hart decided to use it differently, to share information. What could he upload for others to see? He couldn't decide. Then, on July the 4th, he was buying some groceries when the shop assistant put a leaflet in his bag. He found it later while he was unpacking his shopping. It was a copy of the American Declaration of Independence. He typed it onto the computer at the University of Illinois. 6 people downloaded it. So, the first e-text was a piece of writing from 1776. These days, there are hundreds of thousands of e-texts available from different websites. One example is Project Gutenberg. What is Project Gutenberg? It's actually Michael Hart's own project. After that first e-text, he and his friends, all volunteers, started uploading whole books. Hart called their work Project Gutenberg. There are now tens of thousands of free downloads, not only in English, available from www.gutenberg.org. These days, of course, the volunteers scan the texts instead of typing them. They record audiobooks too. Are all e-texts free? No. Most of Project Gutenberg's texts are free because they are old and out of copyright. Nobody owns them. But you have to pay to download most books. In fact, some online bookstores now sell more downloads than printed books. I'm thinking of getting an e-reader myself. It's the future.
A lot of new information for you here, I'm sure. That's why I advise you to read the text one more time so that you are sure that you understand everything about the text and everything that David Peters was talking about. When you finish that, look at the exercise 2. There are some statements. Write down next to the sentence whether it is true, false, or you don't have the information about that in the text. When you finish that, come back so that I can show you the answers. Now let's see the answers. Most people on the train were playing games. No, that is false. That's something that you do while you are on the bus coming to school. You need an e-reader to read an e-book. False. You don't need that. You can read it from your mobile or from other gadgets. The internet started in the 1970s. False. And when did it start? You can see in the text. The first e-text was the American Declaration of Independence. That is true, and that's very significant for this text. E-texts from Project Gutenberg don't cost anything. Yes, that's true, because the volunteers typed them. That site still exists, and you can check it on the internet if you want. People read more e-books than ordinary books. They didn't talk about that. They only mentioned that there are paperback books and e-books, but they didn't say anything about which of them are more popular and more often read. Now, when you have finished that, look at the topics for discussion. This is something that I will ask you during our next lessons, and you will have to talk about that. Not only one sentence, but you will have to explain the topic that is given here. Why? What are the advantages and disadvantages of paper books or e-books? Why is the American Declaration of Independence mentioned in the text, and what is the significance of that paper? What is Project Gutenberg? Do you pay to read e-books or not? And you will have to talk about that. So prepare yourself. I will ask you to talk about that. The next thing that we have in the book is connected with grammar. Something that you already know, past simple and past continuous. We have talked about past simple in the 5th grade, about past continuous as well, and now we are just revising that. But just in case that some of you have forgotten how they are formed, those tenses are formed and when they are used, I will give you this chart here so that you can see. Of course, I will speak Serbian so that everybody understands. Za prosto prošlo vreme neću pričati ništa, zato što smo još prošlog časa govorili o tom vremenu kada smo ga upoređivali sa vremenom present perfect. Past continuous je vama veoma dobro poznato vreme. Vidite kako se vreme gradi i kada se koristi. A da vidimo sada koja je razlika između ta dva vremena. Osnovna razlika je u trajanju. I jedno i drugo vreme pokazuju radnju koja se desila u prošlosti. S tim što past simple pokazuje radnju koja se desila i završila, a past continuous radnju koja je trajala u nekom trenutku u prošlosti. Vrlo često kada kombinujemo ova dva vremena ili govorimo, upotrebljavamo jedno od ova dva vremena, koristimo veznike. To su veznici when i while ili as, mada ćemo mi sada mnogo više koristiti while. When koristimo obično ispred vremena present simple, past simple, ali to nije pravilo. Može da dođe i past continuous, zavisi od toga kako se prevodi sljedeća rečenica i da li je ona trajala ili se desila i završila. Dok je veznik while ili as uvek praćen trajnim prošlim vremenom. Zaustavite ovdje video i prepišite makar ovo ovdje što vam pokazuje razliku između ova dva vremena. A oni koji se ne sjećaju kako se grade ova dva vremena mogu da prepišu i ovu tabelu. Idemo sada nazad na udžbenik. Koliko ste razumeli razliku između ova dva vremena, vidjet ćete kada uradite vežbanje broj 3. Ovdje dopunite rečenice jednim od ova dva vremena. Kada budete to završili, radite u vašim knjigama, vratite se da proverimo. Evo rešenja. I saw you yesterday, but you didn't see me. Nešto što je bilo trenutno i zato je past simple. Really? What was I doing? Šta sam ja u tom trenutku radio, znači šta je trajalo u tom trenutku i zato je past continuous. You were talking to a girl. Who was she? Did you finish your project last night? No, I didn't. I was writing the last part when my friend came round. I'll finish it tonight. Help! I've lost my mobile. Okay. When did you use it last? I phoned my mom this morning while I was sitting on the bus. Oh no, that's where it is. Nisam objašnjavala preostale primere, zato što je očigledno. Svuda gde je aktivnost bila trenutna, upotrebili ste past simple. Tamo gde smo govorili o radnji koja je trajala u nekom trenutku, upotrebili ste past continuous. Imate u vašoj knjizi još jedno vežbanje, vežbanje broj 4, gledajući slike i prateći reči koje su vam ovdje date, napravite rečenicu kombinujući past simple i past continuous. Nemojte se iznenaditi, ne mora uvek da bude u jednoj rečenici kombinacija oba vremena. Možda će neka rečenica imati i jednu i drugu radnju u istom vremenu. Ovo uradite u vašim sveskama, pa se onda vratite da proverite. Evo rešenja. May went to the library and borrowed a novel. Obe aktivnosti su u prostom prošlom vremenu, jer su obe aktivnosti bile trenutne. Desile se i završile. Otišla je i pozajmila. Rosa was walking past a shop when she saw her friend. Ovdje već imamo kombinaciju, jer je osoba Roza šetala, prolazila pored prodavnice, to je trajalo, a u trenutku jednom je ugledala prijateljicu. I na kraju, while Josie was doing her homework, her brother was playing with cars. Ovdje imamo dve aktivnosti koje su paralelno trajale u prošlosti. Nadam se da ste razumeli. Da vidimo šta smo to danas uradili. Kao prvo, samo trenutak, naučili ste nešto novo o tome kako su nastale elektronske knjige i na koje sve načine možete čitati danas. Zatim smo se malo bavili gramatikom i uporedili vremena past simple i past continuous. Vežbali smo to ovde, a vama za domaći zadatak ostaje da u vašim radnim sveskama uradite sva vežbanja iz lekcije 1b. To su strane 10 i 11. A šta tu trebate da uradite? U prvom vežbanju izaberite pravi oblik glagola. U drugom vežbanju složite reči da one formiraju rečenicu. U trećem vežbanju prvo pročitajte ovaj tekst, a nakon toga poređajte ove događaje pravim redosledom na osnovu teksta koji ste pročitali. U četvrtom vežbanju dopunite ovaj dijalog rečenicama koje imate u boksu, a u vežbanju broj 4, to je bilo vežbanje broj 4, moja greška, a ovdje u vežbanju broj 5, kada pročitate tekst, dodajte ove rečenice koje imate u ovom boksu ovdje. I na kraju, u ovom šestom vežbanju, zaokružite ime osobe koje je u ovom tekstu izjavila sljedeću rečenicu. To bi bilo sve. Još jednom vam napominjem da biste morali da pratite ove prezentacije, jer ćemo uskoro imati test, uskoro ću pitati usmeno, a obzirom na to da samo 10 učenika pregleda prezentaciju od 70 koliko vas ima, to znači da neke učenike ovo savršeno ne interesuje. Tako ću ja biti ravnodušna kada vam budem davala ocene. Uopšte me neće interesovati što ne znate neke stvari, tražit ću ih od vas jer sam ih prezentovala kroz ove prezentacije. Doviđenja.